The following closed circuit is for NBC affiliate chief engineers. The subject, K-band, NBC's final countdown.
Hi, I'm Don Cavell, again, operations on the K-band satellite system. On this closed circuit, I'm going to tell you about the current effort that's pulling the system together this week and our timetable for phasing out of the landlines during the next weeks. Our plan is to retain the landlines in place as a backup facility only until the final performance elements of our K-band system are in place and consistent. Let's start by telling you that the most of our K-band affiliates were successful in the tests we conducted during the last two closed circuits. Their switching transitions were smooth. You saw the tape I ran last Thursday from KYW Philadelphia. The switching system works well, but as we expected, there would still be a lot of cleanup to do in getting all of the ground station hardware to work with all of the satellite network management system software. We're very fortunate that it's coming together so quickly, and we want to thank you for your excellent responses to the two questionnaires. Some of our stations reported that no switching took place at all. That could be caused by equipment that should have been in remote and by a malfunction in the command receivers. The new software, identified as 109, really made the station switch, whereas we found that the older version, 103, was not a consistent performer. Some stations needed new address codes, and some of our computer software did too. To summarize, the station should be in remote with both command receivers operational, 109 software loaded, and the correct address sent and received, and that station will switch, especially now since we are sending out double commands on the two transponders simultaneously. It will switch. Next, we found that some stations reported that the transitions were not smooth. That is correctable by having the frame sync in mode 2 and the 109 software loaded. The right software can help the frame sync do a better job in covering that transition. You know, our two closed circuits really put the system to the ultimate test, making it do a match frame edit while you were watching. We didn't switch in black, we switched between the exact two same pictures and talked through the entire sequence. Our tests were designed to show up any flaws to you very clearly. A few stations reported that the video level changed. A change that lasted meant that our New York uplinks needed better matching. A momentary change meant that the 1E receiver might not be matched to the 1R receiver. Remember, in any switch, you see the 1E receiver first on destination 1R, while the 1R receiver is retuning, and then you see the 1R receiver. A very few stations heard audio pops during the transition, and that again may be an unmatched 1E receiver momentarily appearing on 1R as the switch is made, or an imbalance of DC voltage in the Dytech switcher. All of your responses were carefully reported to ComSat and Harris for immediate follow-up. They worked over the Easter weekend and now have 109 software in every site controller and are cleaning up critical items at 18 affiliates today. That's the current effort, directed towards our landline timetable and getting this system off the ground. As soon as the ComSat Harris work is done by Wednesday, we will begin a 6-step plan right away to reduce the number of hours of programming we feed into the landline network. And we hope to start doing this by the end of this week, just as soon as each ground station has been remotely inspected by SkyPath via your status return equipment. Here's a calendar for a week to show you the blocks of time we'll eliminate. And here's our landline network feeds in the Eastern and in the Central time zones. You see, the Mountain affiliates have been off landlines for a year now, and the Pacific affiliates have been off landlines for 2 months. So we're going to keep all these landlines here for another few weeks while we gradually reduce the programming on them. Step 1. The weekday afternoon programs will not be fed on landlines, and I will wire you on the AIN before each one of these steps happen. Step 1 could start this Thursday. We can have confidence in going to Step 1 because 22 of our K-band affiliates have not had landlines during this time period for a year now. The SNMS switching occurs only during station breaks at 1 p.m. and 4 or 4:30 p.m. New York time, and we began switching your 1R feed during this time period back last March 22nd. So nothing new is going to happen on Step 1. Not having landline backup during this period should not be a problem for anyone. One note, however, and that is our New England friends up here air sectional commercials during this time period. They're the only ones who do. We started switching commercial islands to them on April 3rd, using both K-band and landlines in parallel. So attention, you New England stations, right here in Hartford, Springfield, Providence, Boston, Portland, and Hanover. Be sure your K-band ground station is up to speed because the parallel landline operation will not be available in a few days. Step 2. Next, we will not feed tonight, late night, and sunrise to the landlines, probably right after the NAB ends in Las Vegas, like April 18th. The Tonight Show has sectional commercials all over the country, and the SNMS switching system will be used in full when we start Step 2. Again, only minimal station switching is required for sunrise and today in the morning, and we've been doing that since March 22nd. Step 3. Add Saturday and Sunday mornings to the no landline plan. Following that, Step 4. The Today Show and the weekend morning block of programs will not be on landlines. Step 5. The primetime schedule not on landlines. We're really rolling now, and there's not much left for AT&T to watch anymore. Step 6 is when sports and all is deleted. When we get to Steps 2 and 3, we'll be taking a hard look at disconnecting stations from the landline network even before the next steps have occurred. That's our plan, and with your help, we'll all be there in a week or 2 or 3. How can you help? Report troubles. Hound SkyPath if the troubles don't get fixed, particularly U7 stations in New England, Bangor, Boston, Hanover, Hartford, Portland, Providence, and Springfield. If you're working well, the New England leg could be the first to go. How can you help? Report troubles. We have a new 800 number for you to call, 1-800-NBC-6677. You'll automatically get routed into either New York or Burbank SkyPath, depending on where you're calling from. 1-800-NBC-6677. Use it. If you really need an emergency feed on the landlines, call that number. But we'll kill the feed as soon as you're back in business. And one last thing. If you want to keep your local AT&T channel after we disconnect the network, call Hank at this number in New York. The new AT&T tariff will be effective April 27. Well, thanks for your attention and help, and we'll see you at the NAB.
to horizontal rate of all the stereo components. The question was the RCA exciter TTU, excuse me, what, 40? TTU E44. What vintage is it? If it's pretty new, we had some discussions with RCA very recently. They indicated that their latest generation of UHF exciters were going to be direct FM. Would work without a problem. Okay, thank you for calling.
Okay. In answer to the question about performing rights, we got some more information while you were on there a minute ago, Eric. The record companies pay the performers, and the
Eric Small, could you hang on just a minute?
The ASCAP and BMI licenses of the stations are used for that, just like they are for records.
Okay. Hi, can I help you? Hold on.
Hi there. Good, how are you? Yeah. Well, not initially, Joe. And where are you now, Joe? Oh, my goodness. Last time I saw you, you were at working for Howard in Phoenix, right? Oh, good. The question is, will we be day parting? And the answer to that, Joe, is that we will not be day parting initially, because we'll be playing a fairly short list. It will be a mid-range blend, and we'll not try to go to small targets at night or at any other time. Now that doesn't say we won't do a little bit. At some point in the future, we may find that it's convenient. We have the research to do it, but we'll try to stay in the center to the music that they all like, on a rotation that everyone can live with. The question was, are we basically going to be using the RAM research techniques? And the answer is that that technique, which is a particular method of performing the music research, will be one of the methods we use. Joe, we're concerned in this project, we're concerned about some other studies that we have which indicate that there might be a phenomenon such as video burnout, where the song is still good. As you recall, Joe, with RAM, we were able to tell the product cycle of the song, how long it lasted, and get it off when it was no longer popular. In the case of video, we find studies which indicate that the video may burn out faster than the audio does. So while the song is still good, that the people may be tired of seeing the same pictures associated with it. So we'll probably have to develop a different technique to check on that and some other aspects of it. But that basic technique is the one used in almost all of these music research endeavors. Thanks for calling. It's good to talk to you. Okay, bye. Well, now that I know Joe's in Tampa, I know where I'm going some weekend soon. Hi, this is John Patton. Well, that's a good question. Let me ask the second part first and remind me what the first part was. How is it formatted, and how does one get in and out for commercials? As I mentioned to one caller, that was the last question we expected, and this was the first one we expected. The breaks are filled with a selection and or promo material and or public service material, so that there's something on the air at all times, and you're simply cued inaudibly when it's time to take it. You take it for as long as you want to run commercials, and then rejoin the network. We developed the system that operated Bonneville Broadcasting System satellite service in such a way that literally there were with a fixed format. I don't want to say hundreds of options, but there were numerous options. So the flex clock idea will be adapted to this programming so that you can pick and choose how many commercials you want to run, where you want to break, and when you want to rejoin. Yeah, you had a second question, I think. Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, yes. To get in and out at the top and bottom of the hour, the question is, would the station format their own open and close? And the answer to that is yes. Our programming is going to be without disc jockeys, without anything other than graphics to describe or to name the title and artist of the tune, and possibly promote ahead within the half hour. We will not be doing anything other than the videos beyond that. Now, your options at the station, and you said you were an independent UHF. Your options at the station are unlimited. You can turn it on after you go home at night and just let it run with a machine to throw in station breaks, or if you prefer you can go hire personalities or get the radio personalities to do picture overs over the intros, so you literally can then customize the way you use the programming in your particular market. And I imagine that there are a number of stations like yourself that will have numbers of ideas of how to use it. Okay, thanks for calling. Well, that was the first question we expected to get. And, I think we've got about 7 or 8 minutes left, and the number to call is on the screen. The phone is open right now. As you see, we're using one line and it's live, so when it's time to call, it's time to call. Eric, any thoughts? We're getting in sort of to the wrap-up phase here. Let me take this one. Hi, this is John Patton. Okay, why don't you take Eric first, and I'll take a sip of water, and then you can come back to me, okay? Hang on, here's Eric.
Hi. Okay, the question is, what's the peak deviation on the SAP, the second audio program channel, and will narrowband FMs be permitted in the areas, in the buffer zones between the subcarriers? I'll answer the second question first. No, nothing will be permitted. No additional subcarriers will be permitted if you are complying with the BTSC standards. That is, if you have a subcarrier, a pilot carrier at H. It was quite a job to squeeze the existing signals into the subcarrier without serious beat product problems. And any additional subcarriers would probably wreak a lot of havoc. On the deviation, I have here in front of me the FCC, the recommendations that were made by the BTSC to the FCC, and I think the number is 40 kilohertz, but I will check. In fact, why don't you talk to John Patton with, here it is. The modulation of the oral carrier by the second audio program shall comply plus or minus 15 kilohertz deviation is the number. Hang on, let me give you to John.
Hi. The question is, how will the station that we select in a particular market be determined in case we have 3 or 4 that want the service? And the answer to that is strictly on the basis of the number of hours that they're willing to clear and the amount that they're willing to pay for the service. We don't necessarily think it has to be exclusive. We think that there might be cases where a particular station may want to run it on Friday and Saturday nights late, and another station might want to run it at a different time period entirely. So we're open to discussion with you on that. It will not be based on the strength of the station alone. It will be based more on the question of how much you're willing to clear and what we feel the long-term potential of getting ratings in that market is. Yes, our compensation is totally cash. There will be no barter. It will be all cash. And we're suggesting that that there is some price at which you would like to have this programming source available to you, and we're asking you to communicate with us over the next few days and let us tell us what that is, and we'll take it from there and get back to you, and that's how we'll make the decision. Okay, thank you for calling. Thank you. That's all the time we're going to have for telephone calls, so I think I'll just leave this off the hook. It's probably the best idea. There we are. So let's wind up by giving you some more information. First, Eric, we're going to put up a slide that tells them where they can get a hold of you after the program for more information. Here it is right now. Why don't you go?
Okay, a couple of sources for additional information. If you have questions, if you didn't get your call through today, please feel free to call me, write me. The other thing is there is an extensive body of documentation on this available from the Electronic Industries Association. If you contact them directly, they can provide you with a great deal more information, or call us. We can Xerox some of it for you or tell you where to get it. Thank you.
Did you give your phone number, Eric?
Yeah, the phone number is 212-625-7333. We tend to keep fairly late hours. There's usually somebody there to talk to until about 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Good. And on the programming questions, you can contact either Marge or myself at Patton Broadcast Management. Our address is on the screen. The number is area 201-569-1703, and we'll be most happy to talk to you and provide you with further information. Just by way of wrap-up, once again, high-intensity television services, HITS for short, will be broadcasting a 24-hour-a-day music video program starting this fall. And our ideas are unique, we think, in 5 specific areas. I'll go through them one more time. First, it's live, 24-hour-a-day music video programming by satellite. Second, no barter, no trade. We take no inventory. Third, we're offering this service to you at your price. You tell us what you would pay for it, when you want to run it. 4, charter subscribers will be offered the option to match any other offers in the market. And 5, programming is going to be totally researched to assure the maximum audience, generally of adults 18 to 49. Thank you for joining us today, and we're going to wrap it up at this point, I think, and just take a leisurely farewell.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.